Hey, I'm Andrew Wilson.
I'm Neil Fowler, and this is us talking about our favorite movies of 2014. And I thought it was a pretty good year for movies this year, all things considered. We had a lot of really good things come
Yeah,
out.
definitely.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
very.
oh yeah. By the way, FYI, we can't see like every movie that ever just came out. So if one movie that you like does not get mentioned, I'm sorry.
Yeah, like we haven't seen every Oscar movie. Like I haven't seen Foxcatcher or a couple other Oscar movies. So if those don't come up on our list, well, then you know why, because
I mean, come on, we have a life, people.
we don't have press credentials. So we
That
don't
too.
see movies for free. So there
No.
you go. And we're gonna do this where we alternate between like one of us will talk about a movie we really liked, and then back and forth. So Andrew, start us off with what was one of your favorite movies of 2014?
Okay. Well, here's one. A very good movie that we mentioned. Well, I think it was like a very interesting action movie. Was The Equalizer starring Denzel Washington?
I remember I talked to you about this,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, you said it was a good action movie.
I mean, yeah, it's a terrific action movie. I mean, it's not your typical action movie where a guy just goes around shooting people up. As a matter of fact, the main character uses a gun very little. I mean, he comes up with unique and different ways of killing people.
Well, that's good. It's a pretty cool way to do an action
Well,
movie.
yeah, it's so I don't know. It's sort of like a MacGyver of action heroes. It's just yeah, I don't know. It's somewhat dark and it has interesting character, which you don't see with much action movies. I mean,
Right.
it's less shallow. I mean, it's more intense. It just also kind of makes you think. And also the bad guys there are also pretty terrifying.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so anyway, that's what I've got to say and why it's on the list. Okay, well, what do you got to pick, Neil?
I've got 11 movies to pick from. Two really quick honorable mentions because I had to cut some of them.
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon 2, very good sequel to the original How to Train Your Dragon. Really grew the world and actually had a very good story on top of that. Interstellar, not Christopher Nolan's best movie, but at the same time, it was beautifully shot. And even though the plot had some problems with it as far as like complexity or whatever, I felt real emotion in that movie. So if nothing else, it's still one of the better movies this year. Not quite one of the best, but still really good. The first movie I'm going to talk about is Snowpiercer, which you can find on Netflix right now. That's the really crazy Korean movie starring Chris Captain America Evans as this revolutionary leader in this post-apocalyptic world where the entirety of humanity lives on this train, and he leads a rebellion of the poor people from the back of the train to take over the train from the rich people that live on the front.
Yeah, class warfare, y'all.
Yeah, it's a movie that really kind of shows wears its political ambitions on its sleeve, but it's also a very good action movie. It's a great action movie, in fact, and also one of the flat out weirdest movies I've seen this year. Just the way the movie goes from being a typical looking action movie to a very bizarre Gonzo style movie just halfway through is really impressive.
Oh, okay. But speaking of weird movies, one movie we definitely should mention that I don't know, we didn't really like it, but you gotta admit, people still talking about it and still thinking about it. Birdman.
Yeah, we didn't really care for Birdman all that much, but I gotta give Birdman credit for doing a lot of interesting things, even if it didn't really connect with me all that much.
Yeah, and I gotta give it ups for like trying to make commentary about culture.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad people like it. Not every movie's gonna connect with everyone in the same way, so I'm glad people got something out of it, even if it wasn't me for me.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Well, one other superhero movie that I have like a couple that are on my list. One is Winter Soldier.
Yes.
It's a really interesting movie about. I mean, it definitely has like a twist. I mean, this is a superhero movie with like political
Right.
intrigue, and the whole twist is Okay, I'm not going to give away the twist. I mean, I would never spoil a movie ever. Hail Hydra.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Spoiler. Hydra's in the movie. To some capacity. But yeah, it was a real it was a really good movie. It actually had a really interesting story on top of that. That was the part that really surprised me was how good the story was on that.
Oh yeah, it's like, and yeah, it's definitely good. Okay, and another superhero movie we gotta talk about so far. It's great. It's like closest we have to like the new Star Wars,
I
other than the Star Wars that's gonna come
I know
out.
exactly what movie you're talking about.
Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, I'll tell you what we're talking about. We're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. That was actually my pick for that. My ninth pick was my number 10 pick actually was a tie between Captain America and Guardians of the Galaxy. So might as well cover both bases at once with all this.
Oh yeah, so it's like, so Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, it's great. It's directed by Tim Gunn. I mean, it should come John
yeah,
Gunn.
yeah,
Sorry for mixing up names
yeah,
again. It's like, and it combines perfectly combines like humor with action.
yeah. Well, both of those movies just really kind of took their source material and elevated them to a lot of with really good scripts and really good characterizations and in some ways made them better than the comic book counterparts, just with very good writing and acting as well as very entertaining action. So as far as superhero movies goes, those were like they're both Marvel movies, but they were the best superhero movies of the year to me
Oh yeah, and
for very
Guardians of
different
the
reasons.
Galaxy comes with a '70s mix that you can get on iTunes, and I would recommend you listening to it.
Right. So moving on from superheroes, since we've all covered our superhero fix for the pick,
Well,
what is your next movie?
well, let's see. Well, another pick I made. Few animated movies. One is The Wind Rises,
Ah,
which is, I believe, is the fond farewell or possibly the final Miyazaki movie.
that movie is fantastic. It's on a different list I'm going to do, but yeah, it is a fantastic movie. It is so heartfelt, so good. Is one of my favorite Miyazaki movies.
Yeah, and basically it sort of relates to how Miyazaki telling that how an artist has like a limited number of years, and maybe it's about sort of how reflecting, going through life, all the ups and the downs.
Yeah, it's a great movie because it has a lot of subtext in that. It's not just pretty pictures. That's the best thing about the Miyazaki movies.
Okay, well, I also have this other pick. I don't know, might
Uh,
get a little flack from this, but this
I
is a pick of a movie where everything is awesome.
I was gonna go on to my next pick just
Oh, oh,
to
oh,
alternate.
oh, okay. How about you
Okay,
go to the next pick?
okay, okay. My next pick is Whiplash, which is basically Miles Teller getting his J.K. Simmons trying to mentally whip Miles Teller into shape to become the best jazz player of all time, basically. And it's a really good, like very good character study movie. J.K. Simmons is a very interesting character, and I kind of connected this movie because I used to do drawing in college, and just basically the way art teachers teach you how to draw is by telling you all your work is garbage and basically forcing you to rebuild yourself up from the rubbles. And this is basically the cinematic equivalent of that experience of like learning how to
Well,
become a great artist.
I don't know what kind of art teachers you had, but
Hey, that's how art works, and that's how art works in school. They tell you your work is garbage so that you can get better. That's exactly how it works.
uh, yeah, I don't know. It's like I thought, like what with this whole art and jazz thing, I thought it was supposed to be all mellow. It's like creativity, just do your own thing, man.
No, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of really intense stuff to it, but yeah, Whiplash, very good character study. J.K. Simmons deserves the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for this movie to be perfectly blunt, and is one of the most entertaining movies of the year. So that's my pick. Andrew, what is your next movie?
Okay, my next movie is the Lego Movie.
Yeah, this is an awesome movie.
Yeah, it just surprised me. I never thought it'd be any good. I mean, it's just a movie trying to sell Legos, and oddly enough, this movie touched me emotionally. I mean, it touched a lot of people emotionally, and also it's actually had a lot of good jokes, and a good like reference here.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, the writing in that movie is great. The jokes are all funny, and yeah, the movie really does have a really surprisingly touching emotional core by the end of the thing.
Yeah, it's just like I mean, there's like a bunch of pop culture references, but I would have to say it's the best movie with pop culture references.
It's definitely up there as one of the best ones because they use it in really smart ways. It's not just like, hey, here's Lego Batman, and that's it. They actually do some interesting stuff with Lego Batman and the properties that are in the movie. So
Yeah,
okay, so I guess going on to my next pick will be Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
this is also my pick. Yes.
This is a great sci-fi movie. It had a lot of really interesting real-world correlations with how tensions rise between two warring cultures and factions, and how like ultimately the biggest enemy of this movie is their inability to work together, which is a really kind of interesting story to me. We've seen the movies like Night of the Living Dead, the first one, and there's a lot of really interesting character back and forth between that because there's so many kind of interesting real world dynamics that are really similar to how this movie plays out, and that's why it stood out to me so much.
Yeah, and I also liked how the apes how they show like how the ape society was built and how the apes would communicate with each other. And like Andy Serkis' performance as Caesar is. I hope that guy gets an Oscar. I mean, they gotta find a way to give that guy an Oscar.
He's got to get some kind of Oscar, like honorary Oscar or something like that. He deserves credit for all the great work he's done from Gollum to this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday we'll get like a motion caption actor award.
Maybe. Well,
Maybe.
We can only hope. So, what is your next movie, Andrew?
Okay. Oh, all right. Let's see. Here's one. What this movie? It's definitely worth mentioning. Mentioning is because this movie had us all shocked and everyone talking about it as soon as we walked from the theater. I am talking about Gone Girl.
Yeah, that's further down my list, but yeah, I have that too. What did you like about Gone Girl?
I mean, it's like the perfect thriller. I mean, it kind of kept you guessing all throughout.
Yeah.
And it didn't have like the M. Night Shyamalan twists.
Where it's just like a dumb twist for the sake of having a dumb twist.
It's like, no, it was elegantly put together.
Yeah, this movie has a really interesting plot, and I was legit shocked throughout this movie, just all the plot revelations. It's a very well put together thriller.
Yeah, and it makes you scared of something you never thought you would be scared of, which is relationships.
Yeah.
Why? Go see the movie. You'll find out why.
All right. My next pick is a movie nobody else but me in the world apparently saw. It's called Enemy. It's a movie with Jake Gyllenhaal where he discovers he has an exact double, not an identical twin, but like literally a double of himself. And
so like a clone.
Yeah, basically a clone. But the whole thing is trippy, is very, very bizarre, very trippy. The whole movie is basically like a 90-minute puzzle where you're just trying to figure out what all the symbolism means. And the truth is you may have to do some outside research to understand everything that's going on in this movie, but it really is a fascinating movie because it is just like a character study and you just trying to rationalize what everything is supposed to mean. And at the end of the day, the answers I got at least were very interesting to think about. Your results may vary depending on how much, of the legwork you like to do in movies like this.
Fascinating.
Okay, so next movie, Andrew, what do you got?
Okay, let's see. Soldiers, apes. Okay, I'm a little short. How about you finish this off?
Okay, I'll go by the next couple of entries, not really like do that much stuff on them, but okay. After Enemy, I have Grand Budapest Hotel. It's a very entertaining comedy movie. Maybe not the most thematically substance-filled movie of the year, but it does have some nice, touching moments to it about like nostalgia and looking back in the past. And plus, it was just very entertaining was very funny at the same time. So.
Yeah, I wish I could have gone and saw that during South by Southwest, but the line was too huge.
Those Wes Anderson fanboys, I gotta tell you, but it is a great movie. You don't even necessarily have to be a Wes Anderson fanatic to love it because it really does work on its own without the merits of its director. So, my next pick would be Nightcrawler, another Jake Gyllenhaal movie. Jake Gyllenhaal basically playing the creepiest guy you will ever meet in your life. He's this guy who records like news footage for news stations, and they're all like really graphic, like murder footage things, and it's all about him kind of becoming this monster of a person where he becomes more and more obsessed with his work and him willing to bend the rules of like work ethics and the law to fit his needs.
I don't know. Do you think he killed somebody to just film his body? Because I don't know. I'm kind of guessing that. Don't give it away. I'm just.
A lot of twisted things happen in the movie, but like really, Jake Gyllenhaal is the story is great as well. But Jake Gyllenhaal is like so fascinating in this movie. He is like your eyes can't turn away from him, no matter like how grotesque his actions become. So that was definitely one of the best movies of the year. Sorry, real quick, we're almost done. Lego Movie we already talked about.
Yeah.
The only other thing I would really add to the Lego Movie is the fact that Phil Lord and Chris Miller put so much effort into that script that frankly didn't need to be there. Like they could have very easily just made a really cheap movie that had no effort put into it and it was just there to sell basically as a live action commercial. But they actually did put a lot of effort in making the story really interesting.
And for that, we thank you.
Yeah, that's the reason that movie stands out so much to me. It's just the effort that was put into it and the fact that all the effort was really, paid off so well. Gone Girl, basically what he said about Gone Girl. The only thing I would really add to it is the fact that the movie is just a very well-assembled movie on top of the interesting sex and relationship dynamics. It really does make you think about how your relationships work, how relationships in general work, like the power dynamics between men, women, and everyone they interact with. It's it's a very pulpy thriller movie, but also has a lot of bite to it. So that really stands out. I only have two left. I want to go into a little more detail, but what is your last movie?
I don't know. I pretty much covered all of them. Wait. Oh yeah. Here's one movie I want to add. It's Unbreakable,
which I have not seen.
Well, I have to say this movie is pretty good. I mean, visually stunning, interesting story of like survival and this whole guy's story about
Vince Zamperini.
Vince Zamperini. I mean, he definitely led quite an amazing life. I mean, he went to the Olympics. I mean, he survived out in the middle of the ocean.
His plane got shot down.
Got shot down during World War II.
Survived a POW camp.
Yeah, a POW camp in Japan.
Yeah.
With no means of escape.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's like no wonder they want to make this guy's life story into a movie.
And that movie is directed by Angelina Jolie of all people. That was really kind of an interesting thing about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I would think it'd be fascinating if she was odd enough. It'd be crazy if she was the first woman to win an Oscar for directing.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like she has like a future ahead of her in directing, just because, even though I've heard, I don't really know what people think about Unbroken, but just from a visual standpoint, I think it looks very interesting the way the previews make him out to be. So maybe there's a future for her in directing. So
yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if she's going to keep at it, but I hope she paves the way for other female directors.
Yeah, exactly. Like Catherine Bigelow winning the Oscar for Hurt Locker. Maybe with Angelina Jolie also. I don't know. It'd be nice to see like more than just like white dudes, making movies. The last two movies on my list. This one I saw very recently, The Imitation Game. That was the one with Benedict Cumberbatch as Alan Turing, and how he and a group of scientists tried to unlock the Enigma code that the Nazis were using during World War II. Um, this is a very this is a fantastic movie. It's well acted by everyone. Benedict Cumberbatch and Keira Knightley in particular really stand out, and also it does a really good job of highlighting like both the successes and the great tragedies of this guy's life. Just because he was gay in a time where it was criminally punishable to be gay, and basically this guy's legacy was tarnished for like years because of him being a homosexual, which is a huge shame just on
Yeah, damn homophobia.
yeah, it's a shame on just human nature in general. But at the same time, the movie itself is fantastic. Like in addition to the whole the dynamics of the relationships, it's also a really cool spy movie. Just because it's more of a behind the scenes, like them working to break the code that the Nazis were using. And there's a lot of interesting back and forth between them arguing whether their time is worth it's spending this computer, like this machine that would eventually become the grandfather of all modern computers, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best acted movies of the year, and definitely one of my best movies of the year. The last one I'll mention, Boyhood, which was my favorite movie of the year.
And this one, I kind of regret not seeing it during South by Southwest. I've been meaning to see this, but I don't know. I've always heard like complaints about this movie, like it's like, oh, they're showing it being too harsh, of him being bullied, and the whole divorce thing, blah, 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 because
Well, life isn't clean like that. Like that's the
I mean,
thing.
yeah, exactly.
That's the thing about this movie. Like the thing about this movie is that it's so natural, like how the characters grow and progress into different people over the 12 years that they filmed this movie. It's very that's the best part about this movie is just seeing the natural progression of these actors and these characters. To me, the whole 12 years thing made it feel a lot more special to me because you weren't just seeing like a kid actor playing someone and then an adult actor. You were seeing this boy and his sister and his parents grow into much different people over time. And the fact that the stories, like there's little vignettes throughout the movie, like the mother gets remarried to a new man and there's a whole story with that, and the husband completely changes into a different person over time. The vignettes are very natural, and they feel real. Like there are moments in this movie that are very tense, not because there's like a hostage situation obviously, but because like people are very mentally ill and they need help, but that's just those are situations that happen in real life where there are really tense family dynamics and relationships that don't work out well in the end. And in addition to just it's 2.5 hours long, so maybe it could have been cut a little bit for time, but the whole movie is just so interesting from start to finish with how everything naturally progresses, that it really is a special movie, and for me the best movie of 2014.
Okay, definitely. Okay, I think we made like some really good choices.
Yeah. Hopefully we shine some light on some movies that maybe some of you guys wouldn't have heard about before, particularly Enemy, since I still have not met any other person that's actually seen Enemy besides me.
I don't know, first time I've heard about it.
Okay, so we're gonna come back with a very different kind of list, very fun kind of list. So until next time, have a great 2015, guys, and we'll catch you all later. Bye, y'all.
Peace.